And that's the reason she keeps him away from discovering his authenticity. She keeps him away from taking control and charge of his own life. Yeah, she infantilizes the son, she emasculates the son. She doesn't want the son to grow up to be a healthy man. Yeah, because a healthy man is not going to put up with all that BS. He's going to say tata, bye bye. Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So today I'm going to talk about, insanely disturbing, tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their sons. And before I get going, I would request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. So basically these narcissistic mothers, view their sons as an extension of herself. She fails to see him as a separate individual with his uniqueness and his own style, his own likes and dislikes. She fails to see him as a separate individual. And this is because of extreme sense of entitlement. This is because of this lack of empathy, inability to self-reflect. She feels that he's a part of me. He will think the way how I think. He will feel the way how I feel. He will like the things that I like. He will dislike the things that I dislike. Whereas in reality things can be different. Yeah, it's a separate individual, and his preference, choice and likes might be different from his mother's. Yeah, and that's absolutely okay. That makes us human, that makes us unique. Yeah, everyone is different, everyone is unique. But in narcissistic families things are different. If they see you being unique, you being different, it causes the narcissistic mother narcissistic injury. They perceive it as a threat that this supply source is going to run away, and then she begins doing different kinds of numbers, dirty tricks on the son. And this is basically to keep the son dependent on her, and that's it. Yeah, so that he doesn't grow up to be a version which doesn't serve her. She wants him to grow into a version that solely serves her. That's it. Yeah, and that's the reason she keeps him away from discovering his authenticity. She keeps him away from taking control and charge of his own life. Yeah, she infantilizes the son, she emasculates the son. She doesn't want the son to grow up to be a healthy man. Yeah, because a healthy man is not going to put up with all that BS. He's going to say tata, bye bye. Yeah, so he's going to distance. Only a dysfunctional individual, only a trauma bonded individual, only someone who has low self-esteem, low self-worth, who has been unable to develop a sense of self, those folks are only going to be with the narcissist. Otherwise people are going to leave the narcissist. Yeah, so narcissistic mothers get into a lot of dirty things. Yeah, and the sole purpose is to manipulate the son so that she can go on exploiting and abusing the son. She sees her son as a pseudo husband. Yeah, the kind of emotional support and reassurance that a partner of same age provides. She starts parentifying the son. She starts training the son to provide all of that to her. Yeah, she doesn't care the damage all of that is causing to the son and his future life. She doesn't care. All what she's concerned about is supply. So if my husband is not giving me something, I'm going to train my son to give me all of that. If my husband is emotionally unavailable, I'm going to train my son to be 100% dedicated and devoted and emotionally present for me, for my emotional needs. Yeah, and it really fucks up things. Yeah, so now coming to the insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son. Number one is dream sabotage. Narcissistic mothers subtly undermines his ambition by suggesting that he's too weak, too fragile for success, for this goal, for that ambition, and this and that. She keeps gaslighting the son. She keeps making the son second guess and doubt his own abilities. And that's how, she keeps him anchored, to her expectations. Yeah. So the son doesn't have any goals and ambition. The son, has only one goal and ambition, that is to fulfill the needs and wants and desire of his narcissistic mother. So narcissistic mothers are big time into, sabotaging the son's dream. Yeah, if the son is going to say, I want to do this, I'm planning to do this, she's going to gaslight and, you can say, erode the son's confidence. You can never do things right. Do you think you can manage all of that? You're way too fragile. This is not for you. So that's how, she erodes all that confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, and as a result of it, son doesn't have any ambition. Son doesn't have any dreams and goals. Yeah, he just, takes on the responsibility to fulfill the mother's, dreams and goals and desire. The other disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is panic button. So, she fakes panic attacks, health crisis, whenever he plans to do something important independently. Yeah, something which is very important for him. She all of a sudden, creates, all those fake, scenarios where she's dying, she's almost on the verge of dying. And this is basically to, ensure that the son doesn't leave her side. Yeah, if the son begins to do things independently, if the son, has his own, dreams, goals and aspirations, he might drift away. Yeah, he might, get on with his life. He might, become, busy with his life, and he might, leave the narcissistic mother. But this is not what she has bred for. She has bred for return, and she will do anything and everything to keep him on hook. Yeah, so whenever she sees that son is doing something independently, yeah, she's going to, create drama. She's going to act as if, she's about to die, she's having panic attacks, and all of it is fake, basically to draw son's attention back onto herself. Yeah, so that he doesn't go ahead with his plans independently. Yeah, whatever he does, he keeps me informed, he keeps me included, and that's how, things should be. If the son, is planning to go out on a date, if the son is taking, his kids and wife, his family, for something, I mean, maybe a movie or a vacation, this woman is going to, act as if she's falling sick, and, she's all alone and she's suffering, she's in a very miserable state, she's in a very horrible state, and who's going to help her and do her? She's going to, project as if, she's very needy and she needs all that attention, support and care. And, in the end, the son, cancels the plan. The son leaves, all of those, plans to go out here and there and do all of this, because, she induces guilt inside of the son. Yeah, she makes the son feel obligated. Yeah, you have to prioritize me, you don't have to go ahead with your plans, I'm your first priority. To hell with your wife, son, to hell with your children, daughter, to hell with your, goals, ambition, to hell with your meeting. Nothing should be important in your life apart from me. Yeah. The other insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is emotional weather forecast. So if she sees that he's doing something by himself, if he's engaging in something, if he's trying to, get into something which she doesn't approve of, or, where she is not included, she is going to get into this emotional weather forecast. She's going to predict, doom and gloom for his future. And this is basically to manipulate him into believing that, if he's going to leave her and do things, it's going to be a disaster. Yeah, so, never leave her, be with her, include her, and only then do things. Yeah, if he's going to do things by himself, if he's not going to include her, he's going to, meet with a disaster. Yeah, and this is basically to erode his confidence. This is basically to, keep him away from doing things by himself. Everyone learns from mistakes. I learned a great deal of things from the mistakes that I made, and I'm happy about it. I don't have, any regret, I don't have any guilt. No, I learned a great deal of things. But these narcissistic mothers, they don't want their son to learn from the mistakes. Otherwise, the son is going to, some way or the other, grow up to be a healthy individual if he begins to learn from his mistakes. So she starts spoon feeding him, she starts infantilizing him. You're never going to do things right, you can never do things alone, without me, jumping into the scene, you will always, end up, messing things up. You are going to end up in a disaster. Yeah, if I'm not included, or if I'm not informed, or if you don't take any advice and suggestion from me. So yes, emotional weather forecast is also, one of the things that narcissistic mothers use to manipulate and control their son. The other insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is memory inception. Yeah, she subtly alters memories of his childhood, convincing him that any past joy was only possible because of her, distorting his reality. So she keeps gaslighting him, she keeps manipulating him that, so and so thing happened. Remember, you were so happy. It was not because of your father, it was not because of you, it was because of me. And this is basically to distort the son's reality, yeah, so that the son is forever dependent on her. The son begins to believe that I was happy because of my mother, not because of my action, not because of my father, not because of my grandmother. I was just happy because of her. She was the reason for my happiness, yeah. And as a result of which he feels indebted, and he, becomes a puppet, and she gets to pull the strings. The other insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is guilt tokens. So she offers excessive praise for minor actions, yeah, turning his attempts at independence into guilt-ridden reminders of how ungrateful he is for even considering, leaving her. Yeah, so that he is forever dependent on her. Yeah, she is going to, give praises for minor things that he does. And whereas in if he is about to do something major, something big all by himself, and for which, if he has to go out and, start living alone, she's not going to praise or validate or support him or encourage him. Instead, she's going to uh, keep, giving him all those reminders, yeah, so that he feels guilty, he feels indebted, and he, never, really considers, leaving her. Yeah, and he's forever dependent on her, hooked onto her. The other insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is time thief. So, she claims he owes her all his free time, guilting him into, spending every moment with her under the guise, of you'll miss me when I'm gone. Yeah, so she's going to keep on, guilt tripping him. She's going to keep on, occupying, all of his, free time. Yeah, she's not going to let him do things his way or spend time with his friend, family, children, girlfriend. No, she's not going to let him do that. Instead, she's going to use these, phrases. You're going to miss me when I'm gone. I'm having, just a little time now. uh, I mean, you should spend more time with me. And that's how, she manipulates him into spending more time with her. She doesn't let him, spend time with his own self also. Yeah, she's going to hijack that and start, guilt tripping him, start, telling him that I have got very less time. The more time you spend with me, it'll be better. Otherwise, you are going to miss me when I'm gone. And poor son, he has no other option, apart from complying. Yeah, so he gives up everything, and he's just there, sitting under her feet. Yeah. The other insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is love hate collage. Yeah, so she creates a bizarre mix of love and hostility, yeah, convincing him that her erratic emotional, swings are a sign of how deeply she cares. So she's never going to, behave sanely. She's never going to behave stable and calm. Instead, she's going to, sometimes cry, howl, mistreat him, and all of a sudden start treating him good. And then she's going to project, as if all of it is, out of care and concern. She's so emotional about him. She's so, concerned about him. She cares about him, and that's the reason, she gets angry, she gets furious, she, behaves crazily. Yeah, it's out of love, care, and concern. But we know, it is basically to confuse the son and keep him on hook. Yeah, so she is going to, create this love hate collage. Yeah, she's never going to be 100%, hateful, or she's never going to be 100% loving. Yeah, she's going to, keep that, up and down, in the graph. She's never going to let the graph be even and stable. Yeah, in a healthy family, healthy parents, they are there for you. They don't have to create chaos and drama to keep you on hook. Healthy parents have better things to do. With narcissistic parents, it's all about drama, chaos. They don't want you to feel safe. They don't want you to experience calmness and tranquility. They always want you to be stuck in that sympathetic state, fight and flight. Yeah, they don't want you to, experience that parasympathetic, state where you are relaxing and you are, enjoying and you are resting and you are, properly digesting. They don't want you to relax at all. They want you to be constantly in that, sympathetic state where you are constantly in fight and flight. And because of this, prolonged exposure to such chaotic environment at home by, these narcissistic parents, kids, tend to, get stuck, in that, sympathetic state. And over a period of time, then, they experience this, polyvagal shutdown. Yeah, whereas in, the mind, begins to, put the entire body and system and metabolism in a safe mode. Yeah, and as a result of which, kids suffer from a lot of problem: anxiety, mood disorder, depression, irritable bowel syndrome, metabolic, disorders, poor circulation, obesity, irritable bowel syndrome. I mean, a lot of things. I was reading, a couple of days back, one of the papers by a brilliant, psychiatrist, and he was in fact, talking about how, he found out that, narcissistic abuse, I mean abuse by parent, can also lead to fibromyalgia and thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I used to think that this could be because of, eating habits, or gene, or maybe, your compromised immune system. But everything, is connected and, linked to, how you are made to feel in such, households. Yeah, such families. And the reason is stress, chaos, yeah, unpredictability. And that's something which later on develops into all of these, immune issues, IBS, stomach problem, problems related to nervous system, problems related to circulation, problems related to your emotional regulation. Yeah, so that was a very, fascinating, article that I had come across. And this, psychiatrist had, spent over 20 years, researching this. And he did, explain why, childhood is such an important thing, why childhood, decides, what kind of a health you will have in your adulthood. Yeah, so I mean, it was really fascinating. I mean, if I get hold of that article, I will surely, post in the community so you guys can also go through. And I have got a recommendation that, you guys should go ahead and, read this book, very interesting book with a lot of, research and, scientific literature, by, I think, it's by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. Yeah, Body Keeps a Score. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So do read that book. It's really good. And it's good for someone who doesn't have that, psychology background, someone who is not exposed to, all of these things. For them, it's a very, amazing, book to understand, how things work, how things influence, and how it impacts your health, how, trauma gets stored inside of you, and how, it shapes you as a person. It reflects, how you behave and react to things and situation. So I mean, that's a brilliant work. I think every one of you should, find out some time and, go through it. Now, coming to another insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to, manipulate and control their son, and that is fake prophecy. So she's going to predict future tragedies for him. If he doesn't follow her guidance, he's going to, face this and that, and he's going to face loss, and he's going to be in trouble. And this is basically to embed, irrational fear that paralyzes his decision making abilities. Yeah. So, she doesn't want him to make independent decisions all by himself. She doesn't want him to, learn from his mistakes. Yeah. So she starts spoon feeding. So she starts making all of these, fake prophecies where she says that, you're going to get into trouble if you're not going to seek my advice and counsel. You are going to mess up. And this is basically to, paralyze his decision making abilities. That's it. Yeah. She wants him to be dependent on her forever. Yeah, till the time either he's alive or till the time she's alive. Yeah. The other insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is petty rescuer. So she sabotages small aspects of his life, like, losing important documents, just so she can rescue him later, reinforcing his dependency on her. Yeah. So, I have seen narcissistic mothers intentionally hiding important documents, checkbooks, wallet, car keys, and, certificates of her son. And this is basically to, reinforce his dependency on her. Yeah, so that again he comes back to her, he's unable to find, and then he, comes back to the mother. Mother, have you seen this? Where have I kept? I really don't know. Whereas in reality, she's the one who's, taking away all of those things and hiding and keeping in her possession. And all of it is basically to, project herself as the only rescuer. Yeah. In her son's life. Yeah, she's the one who rescues him. Yeah, so if the son has an important meeting, he has some paperwork and, some documents which he needs to carry, she's going to, keep it in her possession. She's going to hide it and let the son search. In the end, of course, the son is going to reach out to the mother and, ask her, Mom, have you seen the document? I really don't know where I have kept. And then she's going to say, you never, do things right. You never keep things properly. I wonder, how are you going to function without me? Wait over here, I'm getting it for you. It was lying down here, here and there. And, I had, kept it somewhere safe. Wait, I'm getting it for you. Yeah, so that's how, she manipulates him at various different levels. And the last insanely disturbing tactics narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their son is mystical guilt. She convinces him that his action, disturbs the family harmony, family name, family image, using obscure spiritual or superstitious belief to manipulate his choices. Yeah. So she's going to say, well, you do things your way. Have you ever really, cared about our family name, our family tradition, our beliefs? No, you hardly care. And this is basically to, manipulate his decision. Yeah, so that he does what she wants and he doesn't do things his way. Yeah, so she's going to use the family name, honor, family harmony, and this is basically to, instill guilt. Yeah, you are doing all of this, and that's, really hurting the family. That's hurting the family sentiment. That's hurting the, family belief. Yeah. And then she's going to say, from ancient time, we had been upholding and doing things this way. This is how, things are in our family. This is our family tradition. And now you're wanting to do things other way. No, you're going to really hurt a lot of people. So, she has a lot of tricks, and all of the tricks is basically to keep him dependent on her. That's it. She cannot fathom a life without the son. She sees the son as an extension of herself, and that's it. He should, do anything and everything that she desires, wishes, and wants. That's it. Yeah. So yes, these were, a couple of, insanely disturbing, tactics that these narcissistic mothers use to manipulate their sons. In case if you would like to add in something, you can always comment below. Till then, take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.